Hello and welcome to CATSweek. I'm Annalise Poorman. The Monroe County Council met on May 26 and rejected a purchase agreement to buy the North Park property for a new jail. According to Commissioner Julie Thomas, the North Park property was the only option for the county to meet deadlines for a 2008 ACLU lawsuit.
I just want to quickly remind everyone that we have two deadlines facing us. The first one is Friday's ACLU deadline. The other is the bond council's deadline to initiate a bond in July. Anything other than North Park at this moment means we miss both deadlines.
Commissioner Jody Madeira said failing to purchase the property will result in the ACLU filing for summary judgment.
Summary judgment isn't a request for further negotiation or dialogue. It's a request for a court to decide the ultimate legal question without a trial because the facts aren't meaningfully in dispute. The question here will be, did Monroe County have an unconstitutional jail? I don't know that any elected official in this room would say that it's not unconstitutional. In recent days, our population was as high as 272. This jail has a functional capacity of 235. This is a structural problem. All the new services in the world won't create new ADA cells, rec space, or alleviate overcrowding. So if summary judgment is granted, the only remaining question is what remedy a federal court will impose on Monroe County. Once we stop acting as one county and start acting as separate legal adversaries. The commissioners, the sheriff, and the council will each retain separate attorneys, file separate briefs, and present separate arguments. And from what I've seen of the record from the past 17 years, the ACLU will prevail.
County Sheriff Ruben Marte urged the council to approve the purchase agreement, saying that the current facility is not safe for his staff or inmates.
Not to move forward at the present time is literally putting a tremendous amount of more stress on the staff that are already stressed to a point that concerns me. It really does. So we all agree that we want to treat people humanely. We agreed upon that. We also agreed that we want to have public safety to the utmost. This is a public safety issue because we try to do is when they come in is provide, specifically residents now I'm talking about, is provide them with all the help that we can so when they leave the facility, they don't go back to the same pattern or habits that cause them to be in there. We're trying to be proactive, but here again, it keeps coming back to the facility and the staff number.
The council rejected a North Park proposal in October because the county lacked funding following the passage of 2025 Senate Enrolled Act 1. The council again rejected a proposal to buy the property at their May 12th meeting. Council President Jennifer Crossley said that the commissioners need to propose a different location. She suggested the county try to use the Thompson property since the county already owns it.
That's where we are. And I don't have any notes or anything like that I have. I'm just kind of going off the cliff of my head here. So let me go ahead and spell it out for people. If you didn't already know, now you know, because you're hearing it from me. I think we need to look at what we already have. The public has made comments about what we already have. Use what we already have. And years ago, that was a Thompson site. And I looked at some, all things considered, way back when studies were done that was supposed to be a juvenile justice facility. And back then, in the term of the economic crisis that we were facing then, my times have changed, that we needed to do something then because costs will continue to skyrocket and will increase. And here we are, yet again, those costs are skyrocketed and increased with building and all of the above. I think with this whole fight of SB 1, where we are kind of taking a look back, and some of us have continued to say that SB 1 is the part where we've kind of, we can't do certain things and we're restricted with our funding and our lit rates and all of those different things. I think that was the moment where we collaboratively, not just talking it, but just actually doing it, could have said, let's take a step back here, let's see what we are really doing, and let us do with what we have.
During public comment, over 30 people spoke in opposition to purchasing the land. Many were concerned about the distance between the North Park property and other services for people in the jail. Bloomington City Council member Isabel Piedmont Smith said that she thinks the county should spend money on alternative services to prevent future incarcerations.
Overall, the jail proposal at the North Park site is a poor use of taxpayer money. We're not only burdening future generations with debt, but we're also burdening them with a status quo criminal justice system that is focused on punishment and where it should be focused on prevention. This is an opportunity to change this system, which I've been saying for years, but due to the non-collaborative nature of the commissioners on this, it was ignored. And many in the community have been saying the same thing. Any facility, as the current proposal is, that has a significantly higher number of beds will be, could very well be used by ICE, could be used by the federal government, which is repressing American citizens and legal immigrants to this country across the board. Public safety is not arresting people and putting them in jail. Public safety rests on the principle that true safety comes only from racial and economic justice, where residents have the resources and stability they need to survive and hopefully to thrive.
Other public commenters blamed the Monroe County Commissioners for the county facing such urgency on the jail project. Former City Council member Steve Volan called for the commissioners to resign.
If you approve this, you'll show that if the commissioners drag their feet long enough, they'll get their druthers in the face of all evidence that shows it's a bad idea. You'll reward their negligence, their intransigence, even their contempt. For you, for the city of Bloomington, the people of Monroe County, and most of all, the incarcerated, whom the commissioners could have spared an unconstitutional jail years ago if only they had applied an ounce of diplomacy. Whatever your vote tonight, do not take responsibility for a failure that rests solely with the commissioners. Send the message that the county must not be subjected to a reorganization of its physical plant that will be permanent, catastrophic, and avoidable. If this was the best they had to offer, let their next act be to send a message that might get the ACLU to back off. Let them do the honorable thing and resign their seats.
Councilmember Pete Iverson was the only vote in favor of the purchase agreement. He said while the proposal was unpopular, he believed delaying the decision would be unwise.
And let me repeat, there are no ideal choices here. This is a terrible decision to be making right now. A vote for the litigation option is kicking the can down the road at least 3 years. A vote for the affirmative option presents a solution that perpetuates a system that jails too many people. There are no ideal solutions to us tonight, but there is a marginally optimal one. This evening, we have a viable path forward to end 17 years of stalemate. Sit with that for a second.
On the other hand, several council members said that they could not support moving forward with the proposal after considerable public opposition. Council member Jennifer Crossley said that the North Park property had become too divisive for the county to move forward.
But this is the part right now where I feel like this is a moment where we can either do well or we could screw it over. And I was a no back in October. I was a no back in a couple of weeks ago, and I'm still a no. But again, here's where I can say yes. I can say yes to true active collaboration. I can say yes to really getting down in the trenches, like today, like after this is all, well, maybe not today, because I literally want to spend a little bit of time with my son, or the next day, where we can come back in a room and say, let's figure this out. Mr. Richardson back there has continued to say, let's talk about this, let's talk about this. I can tell you, we are trying to talk about it. Whether or not other people really want to come to the table and really want to talk to us about it, that's a whole other subject. But again, I think about, as Councilmember Henry has said before, Charlotte's last conversations were, you all can do hard things. You just need to know how to do it and go do it. And since we are quoting songs, I really like to think of songs as well to get me through hard times. And a great lyricist by the name of Tupac said, remember one thing, for every dark night, there's a bright day. And after that, So no matter how hard it gets, stick your chest out, keep your head up, and handle it. Colleagues, that's what we gotta keep doing. County commissioners, that's what we have to keep doing. City colleagues, sheriff here, like that's what we have to keep doing. Yes, I understand the repercussions. I come from people who understand consequences of many things that have come up against them. But this right here, this is where we are. So with that being said, may we please have a roll call vote?
The council rejected the purchase agreement 6-1, with Iverson being the only supporting vote. He said the North Park proposal has been the only path forward presented in the 17 years since the lawsuit was filed.
Ahead of this vote, I have done what I feel is my due diligence. I have discussed this vote with as many constituents as I can from as many diverse backgrounds as I can. This includes clergy, first responders, mental health professionals, public safety professionals, county employees, former and current elected officials, attorneys, and more. What I'm hearing from folks out in the 1st District is they want us to end 17 years of indecision. What I'm hearing is that they want action.
The council followed with a motion to deny the purchase of the North Park property. That motion passed 6-0. Commissioner David Henry was unable to vote because he was attending online and his connection failed. The Monroe County Council will meet again on June 9th. The Richland Township Board and Ellettsville Town Council met on May 27th to continue discussions on a proposed government reorganization that would consolidate the two into one unified governmental structure. Richland Township trustee Susan Brown opened the meeting by recapping months-long studies on the potential impacts to finance, public safety, planning and zoning, parks, and utilities if the proposal passes.
I know I said this at a previous meeting, but I'd like to reiterate that I thought the subcommittees did an excellent job on the reports. I thought they were very thorough, and I liked everything about them, the language, the graphics, the maps, everything. And I liked the history that was put in some of those reports. So in any event, the subcommittees presented their report to the Reorganization Committee. The Reorganization Committee approved a draft plan of reorganization on April 9th, and that has been on the EllettsvilleRichlandInfo.org website since about that time. And as you're aware, that's a recommendation to both boards as to how the reorganization can move forward, because ultimately the obligation to draft a reorganization plan rests with both the governmental boards.
A representative from Baker Tilly then outlined what the proposed governing structure would look like.
The proposed governance structure includes a 7-member town council. This would include 5 district seats and 2 at-large seats during the transition period. The township government would be dissolved, but representation for both the urban and rural areas would continue through the district structure. The goal is to maintain local representation while improving coordination across the consolidated area.
The presentation also explained the difference between the proposal's urban and rural service districts.
This framework is again intended to align taxes more closely with the services that are currently provided. So why 2 districts? The 2-district structure serves several important purposes that I've reiterated, but I'm going to reiterate here. It matches the taxes with the service levels. It allows phased growth and expansion. It preserves the rural character and expectations, and it supports long-term infrastructure planning.
Both entities voted to preliminarily approve the fiscal impact analysis, allowing the proposal to move forward. This will allow for additional public hearings and possible placement on the November 2026 ballot. The Bloomington Historic Preservation Commission met on May 28th and discussed possible historic designation for a property on North Prow Avenue. The home was built in 1945. However, Commissioner Jeremy Hackard said that alone is not enough to qualify the building as a historic marker.
Yeah, I'm sad to see a small house, especially with a story like this one, just a unique story, and tear down a small house to build a small house feels ironic. But think there's much we can do, unfortunately, with our either-or options.
The commission approved the demolition. A new house will be built on the soon-to-be vacant lot. In February of 2024, the Historic Preservation Commission approved the expansion of a small 1920s garage driveway, including modifications to connect the garage to the residence. The cost of appropriateness had expired after 2 years. The property owner came to the commission to request a new COA. Hackard said he supports the request.
Yeah, I see. Basically, the only thing that's changing is the time frame. And so he's just asking for more time. It's already approved once. I see no reason to relitigate this, so I am in favor.
The motion passed unanimously. Historic Preservation Program Manager Noah Sandwise updated the commission on the Code of Conduct. Sandwise then acknowledged the accomplishments of Commissioner Melody Dusner.
I'd like to give a shout out to Melody Dusner and her class, which won an IU Center for Rural Engagement Award for very relevant to us research on a stone carver in Odon, Indiana named Ira Correll, which culminated in the installation of a Indiana historic marker.
Application.
Well, application.
The BHPC will meet again on June 4th. The Monroe County Stormwater Management Board met on May 27th. The board reviewed funding requests from projects under its Memorandum of Understanding with Monroe County Soil and Water Conservation District. Stormwater Program Manager Erica Penna explained the first request, which sought water management solutions.
This first one, the issue, if I'm understanding it correctly, there's a culvert that drains under the road from the hillside into their field, and so this project would help direct that drainage into a specific channel and help their pasture and their cattle. They're not impacting the direct flow into Bean Blossom.
SWCD Representative Erica Myers confirmed that this project falls under the guidelines of the Joint Small Grants Program. However, Monroe County Surveyor Tron Enright Randolph raised concerns about transparency, pointing to redacted collaborators in the meeting agenda packet.
Being a ratepayer fund, I think it should be very transparent that people know where these dollars are coming from, or going to, sorry. So I understand that this isn't, these redactions of the name and where the project's going is not SWCD. I understand that. But I think this information needs to be public and should not be redacted.
Myers responded that a majority of the redactions were due to policies of the Natural Resources Conservation Service and not the landowners. Then Myers referred to the Conservation District's discussions around mandating transparency in the Small Grants Program. Enright Randolph also tied these transparency concerns to larger considerations about budget allocation.
And then furthermore, we need to establish a method to support more ratepayers while remaining fair to all residents in Monroe County. And that's what I think the mini grant program is all about. It creates these guidelines and it has these caps. So,
Monroe County Commissioner Julie Thomas moved to approve the additional funding under the condition that the client and landowner make their names publicly known upon approval. Commissioner Jody Madeira supported the requirement. The Stormwater Management Board will meet again on June 24th. And that is all for CATSweek. Thank you for joining us. For CATS and WFHB, I'm Annalise Poorman.
For hurting families in Monroe County.
A contribution to children who are vulnerable and in need of an advocate.
A staff that goes above and beyond to support and advocate for children in need of services.
The web of remarkable people who are dealing with difficult situations.
So many young people that are in need of help and trying to find a stable family, a stable place to live. Without the CASAs to make that happen, many of them would be unable to find a good home.
I love being that voice for the child who can't speak for themselves in court.
It takes me out of my comfort zone, and it also helps others.
CASA means supporting our community.
Being a CASA is making sure that your village is healthy and whole, and that the children in your village will someday be able to help the village as well.
A child who doesn't have a voice, maybe in their family situation or a school situation, now has a voice that can advocate for them.
I really enjoy working with children that are going through difficult times and letting them know that I care about their future.
We are privileged with our charge of representing the best interest of children. And so therefore we can advocate for exactly what they need without restriction, focusing on their best interest.
I want to repair the world one child at a time.